Good evening and welcome to this webinar. Thank you so much for joining us this evening. We're delighted to have you joining us for this webinar titled The Pillars of Professional Canine Stewardship, Breeding Welfare and Financial Responsibility. My name is Daudi Mugabi, and I will be your moderator this evening. I am the corporate affairs manager here at Statewide Insurance product, the dog insurance product, and collaboration with other stakeholders creates a better environment for our canines here in Uganda. And I'm delighted to say that we have a few panelists joining us this evening who are very esteemed in each of their own capacity. I will introduce them briefly before we jump into the panel discussion. First, we have Nada Andersen, who is the chairperson of the Canine Association of Uganda. For those that are not aware, dog owners in Uganda have an association that governs them and helps with proper standards of managing the welfare of their animals. And that is what the Canine Association of Uganda does. She can elaborate more on that. She is the chairperson and she'll be joining us today. The other panelist that we have is the chairman of the Uganda Private Securities Association, also known as TUPSA. Mr. Grace Matsiko will be joining us this evening. And lastly, we have Mr. John Kigozi, who is the head of underwriting here at Statewide Insurance Company. So thank you all for joining us today. Those are our panelists this evening.
Daudi, you are muted.
Oh, apologies for that. I have two devices with me and they have been mixing me up with the microphone. So please guide me as to where I had stopped communicating. Hello, Nada, did you hear the introduction? I don't know where I got lost.
Yeah, I heard the introduction. You were just lost in the last segment. We didn't hear you.
Okay. Okay, fantastic. So after introducing the panelists, I was just reiterating that we are going to go into a discussion with the panelists just to dive deep into this topic of the canine stewardship in Uganda, focusing on breeding welfare and financial responsibility, as was shared on the flyer. And I would like to know if all our panelists have their microphones on, because I will be asking each of them a quick rapid fire questions during the discussion. Nada, I have heard that you are able to hear me and that your microphone is on. Mr. Grace Matsiko, are you able to hear me? Is your microphone working? Can you unmute so that we can tell if we can hear you?
Good evening, participants and panelists. I'm live and well.
Fantastic. Nice to hear you. Fantastic. Thank you so much, Mr. Matsiko. And lastly, Mr. John Kigozi, are you able to hear us? Is your microphone on?
Yes, good evening, panelists and participants in this webinar. I am hearing everything. Hope you are also getting me too.
Yes, you are coming through loud and clear. Thank you very much, our panelists. And to start us off, we wanted to break down this discussion into a few segments where we'll have some deliberations. And the first segment is for us to appreciate the current state of canines in Uganda and the need for standards that can help us establish a benchmark that can help us steward our canine friends in a better fashion. And I would like to start with you, Nada. As I had introduced you, you are the chairperson of the Canine Association of Uganda, and would like you to set the stage for us by sharing a few statistics and highlights, that highlight the role or challenges of dogs in Uganda. Paint a picture for us in as far as the canine fraternity is concerned.
Thanks, Daudi. So in Uganda, as you all know, a dog is not seen as a necessity, more as a luxury. And in general, relationships with dogs are very strained. Ugandans who keep dogs look after them reasonably well, but communities that have dogs in their vicinity somehow fail to build these relationships and fail to look after those community dogs. Even though they will easily say, that's our dog, they don't really care whether the dog has eaten, had clean water, and so on. I happen to have many visitors at my place, and many people come and say, I fear dogs. That should really explain this strained relationship. A lot of people come from areas where dogs are either used for hunting or for herding, but unknown dogs are deemed to be a danger, and people are taught from an early age that they should fear dogs. On the other hand, a dog is a human's best friend, so it kind of doesn't make sense that we have such a fear and such resentment to animals that are extremely loyal and patient with us. Now, as for statistics, as you know, in Uganda, it's very difficult to get statistics on anything, but it is estimated that Kampala alone has something like 40 to 50,000 dogs, of which very few, a very small percentage is actually kept within the perimeters, within households, and so on. So there could be anything between 30 to 35,000 roaming dogs that are free on the streets of Kampala. Another statistic is that recently in northern Uganda, we have lost 5 people to rabies. And I cannot emphasize enough how important it is to vaccinate dogs and to be sure that also people handling dogs are vaccinated. A detail from our recent discussions in the Ministry of Agriculture is that the budget that was supposed to be allocated to rabies vaccines, 1 million doses, has been reallocated to vaccines for meat production animals. So right now the ministry has no vaccines for rabies, and that I see as a big problem. So the focus is more on meat production animals, and dogs are currently being somewhere on the side. Daudi, I can't hear you.
Sorry, I was saying thank you so much for those statistics. I had no idea that was the situation at hand in Uganda. And that leads me to my next question, which is, with the association, how are you helping to uplift some of these standards for dog owners? What is the Canine Association of Uganda doing?
Canine Association of Uganda was formed so that dog owners and dog breeders can have one unified voice. Our primary role is to uphold the breed standards of different dogs that we have in Uganda, and also to enable these dogs compete so that we can see them performing and we can make informed choices in future breedings. One of the missions of Canine Association is also to promote animal welfare by holding regular seminars, webinars, communication related to the 5 animal freedoms. But all this is in the context of dog breeders and owners of dogs that are purebred. We also do help the general public through organizing community clinics. These are happening in the area of Wakiso. And during the community clinics, we vaccinate anything between 150 to 250 dogs, and also some spaying and neutering operations are being performed by veterinarians. So we are trying to popularize dog keeping, but also dog keeping of pure breeds. What does it mean, pure breed? It is a breed of dog that has been bred for generations for a specific purpose. Most popular breeds in Uganda are guarding dogs or family guarding dogs. I can list them here: Boer Bull, German Shepherd, Rottweiler, Doberman, and then we have a very popular breed, Belgian Malinois dog, and that is a dog that can be trained to do specific work like tracking, defense, and so on. So we are promoting purebred dogs, to summarize.
Thank you very much, Nada. I'm glad to hear that the Canine Association is going to some lengths, ideally, to help address some of those challenges that you highlighted earlier in the statistics. And now I want to bring in Mr. Matsiko from the security standpoint. From what Nada shared with us in terms of the state of the canine fraternity here in Uganda, I would like to hear from you about how, or the perspective from the security touch point, and why there is a need for standardization. Mr. Grace Matsiko. Mr. Matsiko, are you there?
Yes, Daudi, I'm there. Thank you. Are you picking me?
Yes, we can hear you. I had asked the question that based on Nada's...
Yes,
oh, you got the question. Yes, over to you. The floor
I got the question. Thank you very much. Yeah, thank you, Daudi. Yes, first of all, I thank SWICO, fellow panelists and participants to this webinar. Coming and thinking about such a subject always neglected, yet it has been with us for centuries. And to us as a private security association, which is the umbrella body of all the private security companies, this is a timely discussion as we're talking about standardization and professionalization of the sector. We have quite a number of companies, about 15 private security companies, that do have the canine as part of the operations. But also we have got the others that are not necessarily doing it as a professional service, but it's part of their security arrangement. First of all, it has been unfortunate that such a topic has never come to the public platform like this, or within the public space. But we are seeing quite a number of private security companies coming up to deploy the canine as part of their operations. One is that the canines, or one we can call canine officers, they are most dependable. That's why most institutions like embassies, factories and industries prefer to have the canine part of the deployment. However, given that appreciation, mostly it's taken as very expensive. I can also agree with my colleague Nada that as much as we value, but we value the dogs, we don't put a lot of attention on their welfare. And the welfare comes with the being part of the budgeting process on the side of the companies, but also on the side of the clients, those who want to use this variable security tool. We have seen of late that there is a demand, first of all, to know the appreciation of what is happening in the canine section. We have seen companies advertising, calling for professional dog handlers, which was something never before. It was not like that before. But we have also seen, sorry to use this word, probably, mediocres also offering, because they are seeing a space where they can play their part and maybe make a living, knowing that there is an information gap. But with such a discussion we're having, probably to also extend to the rest of the public arena, that people have to choose the professional and non-professional services. For the time being, that's what I can say, Daudi.
Right. Thank you so much, Mr. Matsiko. And there's quite a number of things you've mentioned there, like the welfare, the budgeting for the canine departments. And that's why I want to pivot and bring in Mr. Kigozi from the insurance perspective. We've had some of the challenges that Nada has spoken about. Mr. Matsiko has added to that in terms of how even professional establishments sometimes have challenges. But for owners and for professional establishments, Mr. Kigozi, what are some of the risks that insurance would otherwise be covering? What are some of those challenges that one would consider having protected for or looked out for as they approach SWICO for dog insurance? Could you just enlighten us on what a product like dog insurance would cover?
Thank you, Daudi. Thank you, fellow panelists and others on call. As we have heard from the other panelists, we realize that dogs, like any other living thing, it has there are problems that can be encountered during its lifetime. It can fall sick, it can die accidentally, sometimes it can even be stolen. But the most common incident we see is to do with medical expenses when this dog falls sick. Remember, the owner of the dog, whether security or these private security companies, or provides domestic security as a private owner or individual owners, all the same, this security is needed. So if it falls sick, it doesn't provide the security. At the same time, the owner has to incur financial expenses to have this dog back to its normal life. So that's why the insurance company comes in like SWICO to meet these medical expenses. And sometimes if it is death or stolen, then it goes ahead to pay for this animal, and the owner reinstates it, and then security is not compromised. Thank you.
All right, Mr. Kigozi, I have a follow-up question. For anyone who's watching this webinar, maybe they are curious as to what the requirements might be for them to get their dog insured. Are there any things they need to have readily available before they can be insured?
Oh yes, thank you, Daudi. There are things which have to be in place so that this dog is covered or insured. These animals fall sick because of maybe missing out some vaccination, as Madame Nada said. There is a threat of rabies, and rabies is a vaccinable disease which, if you miss out, the animal is prone to this rabies. And you find in most cases when it gets the rabies, in most cases the animal dies. Also, as far as the risk of being stolen or going maybe straight, it disappears, you need to trace it. So the microchip is very important to be fixed on this animal so that it can be traced in case it has gone missing. Yeah, thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kigozi. And as we close out this first segment of the webinar, I wanted to circle back to Nada. Nada, we've spoken about standardization of dog breeding and dog standards in general. And the Canine Association of Uganda, I believe, has a show or an event coming up on 6th of December. Could you just share with us what we might expect and where it will be?
Sorry, I lost you in the last bit. But anyway, I got the question. Our dog show is on the 6th December, that's Saturday. So the show is normally in two parts. The first part is assessment, and assessment means different dogs will come to be presented to the international judge. Now, I need to explain about judges. We bring in foreign judges with a purpose of being impartial and judging Ugandan dogs fairly against the published breed standards. Breed standards are standards of how a dog should look, move, and behave according to the purpose for which the dog is bred. So these judges have decades of experience in judging dogs, not only in Uganda, but all over the world. They are the judges from Fédération Cynologique Internationale, which is the world governing body for canine development around the world. So Uganda being an aspiring member, we have decided early on that we are going to follow FCI standards for dogs, for dog shows, and for judging at the dog shows. So the assessment is for the dogs that are kept by different people but have no documentation. So there is no track record who are the parents of the dogs and so on. Now, these dogs can then be assessed, scored, and registered with CAU so that if their owners want to breed them, at least they're able then to get a document from CAU that dog A and dog B have given a litter of puppies. So those puppies will get documents called pedigree document, where at least we will know who are the first parents of these puppies. Why is this important? If we intend to breed quality dogs, we need to avoid inbreeding and incest. So if you don't know where the dog comes from and you just mate that dog with a dog you like, chances are that these dogs may be closely related enough to affect the quality of their puppies. So to avoid mishaps in breeding like that, dogs that breed should have a pedigree document so that by looking at two pedigrees, breeders can make an informed decision whether or not to breed the two. Now, FCI full pedigree has 5 generations of parents on that piece of paper. Actually 4. Let's make it 4. Some have 5. So Canine Association Uganda aspires to pursue that system and standard, that our dogs ultimately should have 4 generations of parents written on their pedigrees. That ensures that there is no inbreeding and that the dogs will meet the quality that is expected of that standard. So that is very important part, to accept as many dogs as possible into the registry so breeders can have documented breeding programs. The second part of the dog show is the dog show. For now, we only show dogs for their conformation, the adherence to the breed standard, their temperament and beauty. But in 2026, we are going to start organizing dog shows that will include working dogs. Getting working dogs to show requires training. So we are currently working on training materials for trainers who will use the materials to train their dogs and train themselves. So we can start issuing certification to trainers and dogs that they have completed dog working exams. So this dog show is the beauty and, of course, assessment for acceptance into the CAU registries. I hope that explains.
Yes, fantastic. You've explained exactly what the dog show will be entailing, and we'd like to know, where will it be? I don't know if you had mentioned that, the venue for this dog show.
I didn't mention. It will be at Police FC, which is at Kira Road. So just before Kira Road Police Station, when coming from Kamocha, on the left, there is the entrance to the football grounds. If some of you may remember, it used to be just a brown pitch, but now it's very well renovated and it's a very nice pitch, and Police FC were kind enough to host us for that Saturday.
All right. Thank you very much, Nada. At least now we have the date, which is the 6th of December. I believe that will be a Saturday, and the venue as well, which is the Kira Road pitch, just before the police station. Right now, Grace, I want to turn to you. There is a term in security known as non-lethal protection, and I believe the canine department is one that would ideally front this particular type of protection. Can you just let us know what exactly non-lethal protection means?
Thank you, Daudi. Non-lethal weapons, under which the category of dogs fall. Of course, ordinarily this is hello? Are you getting me?
Yes,
Daudi?
You are audible.
Okay, good.
You are coming through, yes.
Yes, okay, thank you very much. This refers to the use of security tools other than a gun, non-lethal, meaning it's just that security tool or measure that is deployed, and it's not a gun, which is the main, the traditional weapon of security. Now, with the innovations in security services that we are having now, an introduction of AI, the electronic surveillance now all over almost every part of the country, we, the customers, or even internally ourselves as a private security sector, we are looking at, we don't have to militarize the country, because if we to deploy as to the number of private security companies at the moment, which are standing at 455 with over 100,000 personnel, that means we would be increasing our armament levels to unprecedented levels. Like wherever you'll be turning to will be someone standing with a gun, or half our population, half our personnel. But we are reflecting, and that's why we're having the numbers of private security companies going for non-lethal weapons, among them Canine. By the way, we even have companies that don't use weapons at all, any lethal weapons, like a gun. There are those companies that are there and doing very well. So the Canine is one area that we are seeing that it can help in demilitarizing, if that could be the right word, of our sector and the country. And of course, having weapons all over, it has got a huge cost. We have seen it some countries, even in most developed countries, that every individual is allowed to walk into a shop and buy a gun. We have seen the level of violence, the level of destruction it's causing. So, as private security, we do support the deployment of non-lethal weapons, among them the Canine. And I think a discussion like this helps us to even get more and more closer to what we're looking at, and even our stakeholders getting to know the interest. Because initially the challenge we will also be having is that when you tell a client that I'm going to deploy a dog at your site, it's like you have given that person no security at all. But as more customers and clients came to learn that actually this is even a more dependable service and safer, then they have started picking interest and even accepting it as a security measure. So we do welcome it, of course, except that what has been the deterrence has been the huge cost of care, but also of course, when you talk about care, is the welfare, feeding, when it falls sick, the huge cost in falling sick. If there is death, that means you have lost quite a substantial amount of money. But the insurance SWICO has come up with this dog insurance. We are just saying probably it will address some of these challenges. That's why even most companies had stayed away because of the cost. But if we can have a remedy, then the uptake will be slightly higher. Given that even we also need to increase the sensitization of the public, our clients, the stakeholders, that about the higher of canine services, because the chances are, in our assessment, when a lethal weapon is misused, the chances are higher than probably when a canine service is misused. So those are the advantages and the options we are looking at.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you very much, Mr. Matsiko. And I like the way the conversation is unfolding, because we've set it off by looking at some of the challenges being faced in the country today by canines. And then Nada touched on something that greatly supports the point you brought out, and that is standardizing the professionalism in terms of having dogs and the dog owners who are security companies have specific training. And I believe she mentioned that at the next dog show, the one in 2026, that they will have security companies demonstrate or show how trained their dogs are. And I think that greatly would support some of the security companies that you've mentioned, whereby we can have some more uptake of these animals in security farms, such that we do not necessarily have to always rely on lethal weapons as a way of securing ourselves. And I just want now to pivot to Mr. Kigozi. From the insurance perspective, we're talking about professionalizing, standardizing. When it comes to insurance, what are some of the ways in which a company, by being standardized and operating at a certain level, how does that then help them from the insurance perspective? In other words, what are the benefits of that in as far as either being insured or not being insured is concerned? And are there any considerations that are made by insurance companies beyond some of the standard features that you had earlier on mentioned, Mr. Kigozi?
Yeah, thank you, Daudi. Of course, if the company maintains the standards and they have well-maintained the animals, of course, we, as far as this policy is concerned, we have an age limit of certain years. But then, if the animal is well-maintained and it looks healthy and in good conditions, we can extend it to beyond the 10 years, which we are looking at. Also, we can also consider a discount, even if it has not yet come to 10 years. But when you look at someone, the animal owner has maintained it well, he has a vaccination program, you can consider giving a rebate. But that is, of course, after some time, when you watch that, when you see that actually is maintaining the standards which are good. Thank you. Yes, Daudi? Are you hearing me, or you have lost me?
Apologies, Mr. Kigozi. I was on mute as I was speaking. I just wanted to ask a quick follow-up question. That there are some incidents that are insured beyond what you had earlier on mentioned, maybe for a professional outfit or for even breeders. We've talked a lot about security, but a lot of dog owners sometimes are breeders. They just want to breed dogs. So what considerations do you have for those?
Thank you, Daud. You see, there are some exclusions of these pet insurance. They are standard exclusions. Most policies don't cover whelping. Those are accidents that accrue to the animal when it is giving birth. Also, docking in most cases is excluded from the policy. However, we can consider it, especially whelping for the breeders. They pay an extra small cost or premium to cater for that risk, and then we include it we include that extension. And also docking, you find that some animals, that's how they are supposed to be. There is a certain type where they say docking, that's how the animal should be. The tail has to be shortened. So we can also extend to cover that at a small cost. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kigozi. As we close out this section of professionalizing care and deployment, Mr. Grace Matsiko, I understand that TUPSA, your association, also have an event coming up next week. Could you just highlight to us about this symposium, what it's going to entail, where it's going to be, and the dates when it will take place?
Thank you, Daudi. Yes, the Uganda Private Securities Association will be hosting the first private security organization symposium at Marriott Protea Hotel, Acacia, on 3rd to 5th December. One, the aim of the symposium is to interact with our stakeholders, the public we serve, government departments, international missions, businesses, entities, and we're going to be looking at our journey for the past decades, 2 decades. We're going to see what we've been able to do better, where we have failed, the challenges, the innovations, the new developments, and of course, sharing with getting a feedback from our stakeholders. But also, most fundamentally, is that we're also going to get an expose in what our role as private security sector in the national development agenda, and looking at how we are addressing the new cyber, new terror threats, and how we're working together with other stakeholders, of course, public and private. And I'm glad that SWICO is one of the companies that has supported this symposium. We are most grateful. We don't take it for granted, but I think it's because appreciation of our role we play as the national security, as the security service, but also mindful of the fact that we need the backing of each other in every journey we take. We expect, of course, international key players. Delegation from International Code of Conduct Association, where TUPSA is holding an observer status from Geneva. This is the body that superintends or oversees the private security sector globally. Of course, not forgetting our local players, the government, the police, the ministries, business community. So we will be having that discourse around the journey we have covered so far, what we've been able to achieve, what have been the challenges, and the innovations. And I'm glad that in all our discussions, we've never had a centralized discussion on the canine, which will definitely also be which will be part of our discussion. And Madam Nada, of course, your invitation was already sent, and we look forward to joining us for this symposium. And then also, of course, definitely we shall also participate in the dog show. I thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matsiko. As you rightly mentioned there, this is an area which hasn't had a focus from multiple stakeholders. Most people have been trying to tackle different aspects of it in their own silos, but we are glad to see that organizations like the Canine Association of Uganda, TUPSA, and ourselves, SWICO, are coming together, and I'm sure the vets as well will help us create an environment really that is at a particular standard that will take us forward with regards to canines in Uganda. As we wrap up this particular segment, I would like to conclude with Mr. Kigozi. From the insurance perspective, we've looked at some of the challenges faced by dog owners. We've looked at the things that are insured. I just want to ask a question from a perspective of the actual claim. Just walk us through the process, Mr. Kigozi. Assuming somebody had an incident, what does that process look like in terms of being insured? Can you just walk us through that in terms of the claims process, so to speak?
Thank you, Daudi. The walkthrough does not differ much from other claims of other things and property. Of course, when there is a problem, the insured has to notify the insurance company. I don't know. Are you hearing me?
Yeah, now.
Yes, you are coming through.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, this can be by phone. It can be by mail. You can use even your WhatsApp. And also, I think as Daud, we are going to create something on where someone can log in and share through our website, and then we get the notification of the claim. And of course, as we said, when in case there is a problem, say a dog has fallen sick, you have to take it to the gazetted veterinary doctor. Then, of course, the veterinary doctor will submit the medical documentation, and then we shall settle the claim. And of course, you have to inform us the veterinary doctor you have gone to, because we need to link up with them when we are settling in order to settle their bills promptly. Things like in case there is, say, in case of an accident, of course, the dog might not be taken. It might be an instant fatal accident, and then the dog dies immediately. Of course, you notify us through the channels I've mentioned, and it would be good if you could also take the photographs of the dead animal for our appreciation. In case it goes missing, it has gone astray, you have lost it, has been stolen, you notify us immediately, although there will be some period in which we would expect you to recover it if it is recoverable, and then after that time, we have to pay the claim. But you notify us immediately that maybe your animal has gone missing. That is what you can do. It is not much work that you have to do in order to have your claim settled. But of course, through our website, we shall have some small questions which shall be asking, and then you answer them online, and then we can be able to settle your claim. Thank you. I don't know, Daud, whether I've answered you correctly.
Yes, I believe.
Maybe also about photographic evidence, also leaving alone the accident, but there is also public liability. Someone has been beaten by your animal. Then, of course, you take photographs. Someone has parked a vehicle in your compound, your dog has decided to misbehave and scratches it, and of course you can take those photographs of the vehicle, and also you get the repair bills of that vehicle, and then we can be able to settle. Thank you, Daudi.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kigozi. And that brings us to the end of the final segment, which looks at protecting the animals. So I want us to appreciate our panelists this evening with just emojis of either hand claps or heart emojis, whichever way you'd like to appreciate them for such a fantastic deliberation. And these final minutes, I would like us to utilize them for the audience to ask our panelists any questions. So please, if you do have a question, kindly type it in chat. I can read it out, or if you'd like to ask it verbally, feel free to raise your hand. I should be able to spot you and fire away. To start us off, I can see, I think there's a question here in the chat. I believe it's addressed to Nada from Ahimbisiwe, and it's talking about the street dogs. His question is inquiring as to whether you have any plans for the street dogs, like building for them a home. Nada, I don't know if you can answer that. And if you have any other questions, kindly raise your hand. I should be able to see you and give you the audience. But for now, Nada, that's a question for you. Any plans by the Canine Association for street dogs?
We have been in discussions with KCCA to allocate land so that we can fundraise for a modern shelter for also small animal clinic, the training ground for our future veterinarians, and also a paddock for straying animals. Now, KCCA is still looking for that land, but of course, you see, their land and their resources are strained, and as you know, buying land in Uganda is not simple in terms of having to have a lot of funds to just put into a piece of land. Now, there are so many private initiatives for animal shelters, of which there are two that are functional. They both belong to Uganda Society for Protection and Care of Animals, USPCA. One shelter is on Ismail Road in Buya, and the other one is right behind the new Pepsi factory off the expressway. So those two shelters are functional. Unfortunately, they are very overwhelmed with stray animals. So the way we are trying to help the situation is that from next clinic, we are not going to do castrations. We will only focus our resources on spaying the female community dogs. Why does this matter? One intervention of spaying one female in 4 years eliminates 400 new dogs from the streets. So if we can capture the population of free females, and with joint efforts, and that means donations from different stakeholders that will be managed or utilized only for spaying of the females, we can minimize production of stray dogs on the streets. And that intervention alone can help Kampala and Uganda in general so much to reduce the numbers of street dogs. Of course, we promote responsible dog ownership. Our members have adopted a practice that they will not breed their female dogs before these females are 2 years old, and they will stop breeding them when they're 8 years old, and they will breed them only once a year. So the dogs that belong to our members, they are not puppy factories. They are dogs that are very well looked after because their owners understand what is responsible breeding. So to summarize, the shelter for animals depends really on whether the government has the land to put in, and then CAU, together with the rest of the stakeholders in animal welfare, and there are many, we can spearhead the fundraising first, and a lot of funds are available in form of grants by foreign organizations. So we can spearhead the fundraiser, and then we can also make sure that funds are utilized for construction of the animal shelter. The animal shelter we envisage that should be constructed is a modern animal shelter with modern materials where hygiene can be kept to the maximum. I hope I have answered.
Yes, I believe you've answered the question sufficiently, evidenced by the hand claps from the person that asked it. Any other questions from the audience? We have 6 minutes to the top of the hour. I'll just give it 10 seconds. For anybody that has a question, you can raise your hand or type it in the chat. Okay, I don't see any questions coming through. So thank you once again, our panelists. Before we let you go, I would just like to hear just some concluding remarks as we close out this webinar. As I mentioned earlier, this is the first of its type, and we intend to have many more, bringing together different stakeholders to help us improve the canine fraternity here in Uganda. So we'll have many more of these engagements, and each and every one of them will be better than the last. So as we wind up today, I'll start with you, Nada. What are your closing remarks for us this evening?
First of all, Daudi, I'm very grateful for you organizing this webinar. I think spending 1 hour of our lives like this is very, very important, because we all love dogs and we all want dogs to thrive and to excel in our personal lives or in the work that they do. I believe that we need to converse more, but I also believe that this should not end just at a conversation level. In our individual capacities, we have some clout, and we can move some places that are relevant to the canine issue. But if we appear together as a group, we are going to be stronger, and we are going to be, our voice is going to be heard. So my suggestion would be that we create a group that is involved in canine industry, and that we drive certain initiatives as a group, as a team, for the improvement of the canine situation in Uganda. Thank you, Daudi.
Thank you very much, Nada. Mr. Grace Matsiko, closing remarks from yourself.
Thank you, Daudi, for hosting us, and I thank SWICO for this great moment that we are able to express ourselves and also to plan for this country. Members, that whoever is here on this platform should know that we are doing a national security service, that we are trying to create a stable and peaceful Uganda by providing what is always neglected, but it can be a very great tool for this country. So we are doing this part as a business, but also as part of the national security service, that we are trying to make our country better. Of course, to the members, we still invite you for our symposium at Protea on the closing will be 5th December. So kindly do come. For Nada, on the issue of the shelters, probably just to give information, there's a lot of money that most of these urban authorities plan, especially on rabies vaccination. This is money that it's actually bigger than one. It's more than what they would need even to set up a shelter. Probably, if you can tap into that, and there are control measures, especially on the number of street dogs that are ever increasing, we can be able to have to address that issue. Because at the end of it all, if we don't put control measures, then that means we're going to have even these modern shelters we're talking about will at the end be overwhelmed by the same numbers on the streets, unless we address it. I thank you very much, dear participants and fellow panelists. It has been a great moment interacting with you. Most grateful, and thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Matsiko. And finally, Mr. Kigozi from SWICO.
Yeah, thank you, Daudi. My appreciation to the Canine Association and TUPSA for supporting us on this new product, which we have put across. Much appreciation. See, you can put something to be consumed, and then people don't appreciate. But the support that has been given to us by Canine Association and TUPSA, we as SWICO, generally, and the Underwriting in particular, we are very grateful. And with the challenges we have, with the human security, with the weapons, guns, and so on. We have had guns and people, human security misusing guns, and then they end up creating harm other than protection. As Mr. Matsiko puts it, non-lethal protection is the only way to go, and this can only be done effectively by our dogs, the dogs that are well trained. And as you know, there is a lot of financial investment that has to be put in this non-lethal protection, especially the dogs. So insurance is the only way to go to come in and then protect the owners of these animals against the financial losses that they may incur in case they have lost all these animals. Otherwise, I thank everybody who was on call. I thank Dawood for moderating this, and everybody who has been on call. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Mr. Kigozi. Thank you, Mr. Matsiko. Thank you so much, Nada, for making this session what it has been. We really appreciate you. And thank you, our dear guests who've logged in. I just want to inform you that this recording will be available on our website as early as Monday next week. We shall have links to the particular events that are coming up as well. So you'll find all that on our website. That is www.swico.co.ug. We are located on Plot 1, Bombo Road, in case you want to come and visit us physically. And we have more products over and above the dog insurance. So just visit our website. All the information you need will be there. So thank you very much once again, and I wish you a wonderful evening.